Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to be doing a book unhaul. So these are all the books I'm going to be getting rid of this month. I have read them all. I'm slowly going through my massive stack of TBR books and I'm reading as many as I can, and I'm going to keep the ones I really enjoyed and get rid of the ones that I didn't really. So all of these books are recently on my TBR and I read them, and yeah, these are the ones I'm going to be getting rid of, and I'm just going to go through what I thought of each book and why I'm getting rid of it. So first off, I'll just start with this one, Down the Rabbit Hole by Holly Madison. Yeah, this was just kind of one of them kind of trashy holiday books you read. Holly Madison is one of the former Playboy bunnies, and she was Hugh Hefner's main girlfriend for a little bit. She was on that TV series Girls Next Door, which I watched all of them on YouTube and I enjoyed it. It was just a bit of, you know, silly entertainment. But yeah, so I thought I'd pick up this book and, you know, see her thoughts on living in the Playboy house. And you kind of have to take everything she says with, you know, a pinch of salt, obviously. It's all from her perspective. So you don't really know how truthful this book is and what's kind of made up and what's kind of made to make herself look better. But yeah, it was interesting and it was fun. Yeah, just kind of about her life in the Playboy mansion and what she did afterwards and how she felt about it all. So yeah, it was just a bit of throwaway fun. I read it, it was okay, but I'm never going to read it again. It's not a kind of book I would reread. So yeah, this is going to be one I'm getting rid of. The next book is called The Farm by Tom Rob Smith. And this one, I'm kind of torn about this. I bought it a while ago and it's been sitting on my shelf, so I decided to pick up and read it. It was part of the Good Housekeeping reader recommended books. But yeah, I'm kind of torn about this book. I really enjoyed the writing style, and I really enjoyed the first half of this book, and I absolutely hated the ending and I hated the second half. It was so disappointing. Yeah, it's kind of, it's an interesting story. It follows this family, a husband, a wife and a son, and this man, his parents move, they moved to Sweden, which is the mother's homeland, back to where she came from, and they're living on this farm. And the mum kind of, she gets caught up in this whole conspiracy thing. She flies back to the son, who's living in the UK, and the whole book is basically her explaining to him what's been going on the farm, this conspiracy theory which involves her husband, the fact that she doesn't trust anyone in the village, and you know, she's got all this evidence and she's compiled it all and she's sitting in her son's kitchen and they're just talking, and that's pretty much the whole book. And I really enjoyed the storytelling part. I just found it really interesting. Her story was really intriguing. You wanted to know where it was going, but then yeah, the more it got to the ending, the more it was just really dissatisfying. I really didn't enjoy how this book ended. I feel like it should have gone in a completely different direction. I feel like the author didn't really know where the characters were going or how he was going to end the story, so he just kind of, yeah, made it sound like she was crazy and you're not really fully sure by the end. And yeah, I didn't enjoy it. For so much setup, for the mum to have so much evidence and to go through her whole story, and then for you to kind of find out that it was all bullshit, was just, it was so frustrating. As soon as I started to realise where the ending was going, I almost didn't want to read it, because yeah, it just kind of ruined it for me. I wish they'd stuck with her kind of conspiracy thing and gone more with it, but yeah, instead of just making her out to be crazy. So yeah, I really did enjoy the writing style, and her storytelling was kind of written in very long paragraphs. But yeah, it was just, the ending was so disappointing. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of this because obviously I'm not going to read it again if I didn't enjoy the ending. So unfortunately this one is going as well. But yeah, so that's a shame. The next one is New Girl by Paige Harbison. I read this a little while ago actually, it's just been sitting in the corner of my room. This is just like a teeny book. Apparently it's a retelling of another story, and I can't remember what story it was. I looked it up on Goodreads. I don't think it says anywhere in here. But yeah, this is a retelling of another story apparently. But this is basically set in a school. In a boarding school, a girl kind of goes missing and this other girl takes her place in the school, and it's about her trying to find her place and trying to make friends, and you know, people kind of comparing her to the other girl who went missing, and it's just trying to find out what's going on in the story, and there's a bit of a love triangle. And yeah, it was okay, and there was nothing particularly wrong with this book. It's just not really the kind of book that I would read. It was kind of put across as like a scary, almost ghost haunting story, and it wasn't really. Yeah, it was just very much kind of teenage boarding school romancy kind of story, which isn't really my thing. So yeah, I did finish it, and I did I thought it was okay, but yeah, I'm just not going to reread it because it's not my kind of book really. The next book I'm getting rid of is The Last Rites by Neil White, and this is one of the more recent ones I've read. And yeah, I picked this up because it's a thriller. It's kind of a crime thriller, which is kind of my thing. This is what I mainly read. And again, I enjoyed it. It's quite a large book. And yeah, I did actually enjoy the story. And the story was good, the thrills were good, the way it was put together was nice, the writing was fine. It was quite fast paced, it wasn't too slow. There is something that happens in this book that kind of, again, I was a little bit like, oh okay. I don't know whether I should say too much because I don't want to spoil it for people who may read this book. But basically, the ending was fine, the ending was okay to this book. But yeah, there was just a couple of things that happened in this that I was like, oh okay, that's a bit, yeah, that's a bit like too much, do you know what I mean? Like, I can read a lot of gruesome stuff, but that was just a little bit too far. But yeah, I did enjoy it, but again, I'm not going to reread it because there was just certain things that happened in it that I was like, yeah, maybe not. So yeah, I don't see myself rereading it, so that's why. I would read more by this author though. I liked the way it was, like I said, written and everything. So yeah, it's just I wouldn't reread. Next two books, similar story. They're both Jack Reacher stories by Lee Child. I really love this Jack Reacher series by him. I've read quite a lot of them, and I'm actually reading one at the moment. Again, the reason why I'm getting rid of them, they're taking up shelf space and I'm not going to reread them. I will continue reading the Lee Child Jack Reacher series, but I'm going to read it on my Kindle, I think, so I can just download the books instead of having them on my shelves, because there's so many in this series. Basically, yeah, it just kind of follows around this guy called Jack Reacher, who's a military man, and he kind of lives like a homeless person, just from day to day, travelling around, and he seems to always be getting caught up in these army cases. He gets called in, or he witnesses an incident, or, you know, something happens in his life where he just ends up being caught up in the whole, you know, he ends up in these little adventures and kind of goes off. So yeah, I do really enjoy these books. I love the writing style. They're fast paced, they're great. If you're into like action packed kind of books, these are really interesting. So yeah, definitely I would recommend these. Yeah, I'm just purely getting rid of them because I don't have the shelf space anymore. But yeah, I will continue to read this series. I do really enjoy it. The next book I'm getting rid of is Normal, and this one, again, I picked up, it was supposed to be like a thriller type of thing, and it is really like a crime thriller, but this one sounded really interesting to me because it's from the perspective of the serial killer, which you would think would be really interesting, but this book is really boring, and I don't understand how. For a book that's supposed to be from the perspective of a serial killer, he's really not that interesting. It's about him and how he goes, he's got this a girl kidnapped in this kind of dungeon place, and it's about how he treats her and his thoughts on that. And yeah, it kind of gets messed up towards the ending. Like, it was okay, like it kind of had a little bit of a twist in it, but yeah, he was just a really boring character. He just wasn't interesting, and I didn't really care what happened to him. His story was a little bit boring, so yeah, I'm getting rid of this one, unfortunately. It sounded really good, so I'm kind of really disappointed by this one. I don't know if I'll read anything by this author again, but yeah, so that's a shame. The next book is a book by James Patterson. It's part of the Private series. This is Private London. It's also co-written by Mike Pearson. And yeah, I really didn't like this. I don't know, I have several books by James Patterson and I'm trying to read them so I can get rid of them all, because I just don't like his writing style. It's very generic, it's very dull. You know, it's written in very short chapters. The chapters are only like a couple pages, and yeah, the story, it was just a bit boring again. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care what happened. There's not much character development in this, and yeah, it's just kind of like one of those books where I feel like James Patterson, he brings out so many books, and I feel like he is just churning out these big, you know, boring mass paperback kind of stories. And the only thing that was interesting about this book is it actually mentions the town that I live in. That was kind of cool. The town that I live in and the hospital, which is literally just down the road from me, which was actually really cool, which is why I was kind of tempted to keep this book. But then I was like, no, I'm just going to read him and get rid of him. This is a big hardback as well, so it's taking up a lot of space. So yeah, going to be getting rid of this. And to be honest, yeah, it didn't make the hospital sound great, and I'm actually going there this weekend. So yeah, but yeah, it was okay. It's just I don't really like his writing style, so definitely getting rid of that. And I've got more books by him that I need to read, because I don't want to just chuck my books away. I want to read them and give them a chance before I decide whether or not I want to get rid of them. But I probably am going to get rid of all of his ones. But yeah, so that one's going. And last but not least, we have Val McDermid, Northanger Abbey. This is again a retelling, which I didn't really notice when I picked it up until I thought, oh, I recognise that title, Northanger Abbey, and yes, it is a retelling. And I also picked this up because I love the cover. It's so pretty, with the bright orange and then this spooky castle on the front. But yeah, it really wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be like a haunted house kind of spooky story, and it really wasn't. I got halfway through the book and I was like, nothing is happening in this story. It's basically, again, a teenagery love triangle story about this girl who goes to Edinburgh on a trip and is kind of stuck between these two boys, and it's just drama within her life and her friends, and just about what happens in Edinburgh and what she's doing on her holidays. And yeah, just like a little love triangle between this guy, this, you know, posh rich guy who lives in Northanger Abbey, and then I think it's one of her friend's pals, and he likes her but she doesn't like him, and she likes this other guy but she's not sure how it's going and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really disappointed actually. I thought it was going to be a nice spooky story, and it wasn't at all. It was just kind of, I can see other people enjoying this, but it just really wasn't for me. So unfortunately, even though I think it is a really pretty book, it is going to be going. So yeah, that kind of concludes all of the books that I'm getting rid of this month. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if anybody does like any of the books I've mentioned, please don't get offended that I didn't like them. It's just one of those things, you know, everyone has personal taste. And I'm being quite harsh with my books at the moment because obviously with the baby coming at the weekend, I'm just trying to get, I have way too many books. I'm just trying to condense my my reading list and condense my massive amount of books until I can move house, obviously. When I can move house, I can start collecting books again. But yes, when I have more space. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to say. So thank you for watching. As always, if you have any questions about these books, then please leave them down below. Or if you have any thoughts on the books I've mentioned, again, please leave them down below. And yeah, until next time, thank you for watching. Bye guys.